Welcome to the annual Kente Stole ceremony. Yeah, this is the fourth official ceremony. It would be the fifth, but we weren't able to celebrate together in 2020. So I just want to thank everyone who did their best to keep our community healthy and safe so we could celebrate together today. So thank you to all of you, and thank you to our health services team. Thank you. It's nice to see people. Kente ceremonies traditionally celebrate the accomplishments of Black students and an expression of African American pride. The Kente stole represents union with our ancestral heritage and solidarity with the African diaspora. The Kente stole also signifies any hurdle that you've faced that might make academic success uniquely difficult because of your identities. So that's why at Regis, our ceremony is inclusive of all racial and ethnic identities. The Kente is worn as a symbol of inclusion and celebration of academic accomplishments despite hardship in our richly diverse community without distinction. And our 2021 graduates are wearing the Wawaba symbol, meaning the seed of the Wawa tree. The seed of the Wawa tree is extremely hard. Thus, Wawaba represents toughness and strength. And despite the hard outer layer of the seed, the germinating seed is able to break through this covering and become a tree. This means that nothing can hinder the growth of an idea that begins with strength and purpose. It also represents our ability to persevere through hardship. And how appropriate that you chose the Wawaba symbol this year, because this past year has been hard, right? And you have persevered. Look at you, you're now graduating. Think about that for a moment. You graduated during a time like no other, when you were taking care of family members, homeschooling your siblings, your nephews, your neighbors. You were working on the front lines of this pandemic and navigating Zoom lectures, and through all that, you graduated. While we took to the streets, demanding for racial justice, for Black Lives to Matter, to stop Asian hate, for justice, for the world to wake up, for a world where we can simply be, you graduated. While making new friends, new lovers perhaps, new teammates, navigating breakups, microaggressions, and adulting, while writing chats, texts, emails, poems, essays, reflections. Through that, you graduated. While refusing to remain silent, while challenging the status quo at Regis College, like the students who fought for the first Kente Stole ceremony, you graduated. If that's not perseverance, then I don't know what is. So congratulations, class of 2021. I am honored and humbled to stand with you as you don your stoles. And now I would like to welcome to the stage Dan Leahy, who will begin our celebration grounded in prayer. Dan?
Thank you, Audrey, and thank you, everyone, for being here this evening. Truly honored to be with you for one of my favorite events on campus. And someone said, well, why is it your favorite event? And I said, because I'm a philosophy major, and I thrive on symbols and rituals and meanings with connections that traverse time and space, and we have that all here. The connection with the past, rich heritage, family ancestry, your ancestors' wildest dreams, we say. The present, celebrating with friends and mentors and faculty and special people from the Regis community, your Regis family in the here and the now. And the future, we hope for nothing but the best for you, trusting in your ability to continue to live and work in such a way that you make the world more just, more humane, and more loving. Another reason I love this ceremony so much is because you remind me of who God is and how big God is. I've come to see that those who have God all figured out, they do a great disservice to God. Those who make God manageable and small do a great disservice to all of us. On the other hand, diversity in all of its glorious manifestation reflects the richness and the depth and the inclusivity of God, our God. Our God is a big God. And speaking of the vastness of God, permit me to offer one thought from the noted theologian, writer, activist, Dr. Howard Thurman. Reverend Thurman was the dean of the Boston University Marsh Chapel. He was also mentor to Dr. King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and it was said that Dr. King never left the house or went anywhere without a copy of Reverend Thurman's book in his back pocket, a famous little book called Jesus and the Disinherited. Reverend Thurman says this: "The true purpose of all spiritual disciplines is to clear away whatever may block our awareness of that God is within us. It will be in order then to suggest a certain simple aid to this end. One of these is the practice of silence or quiet. As a child," he says, "I was accustomed to spend many hours alone in my rowboat fishing on the river when there was no sound except the waves lapping against the side of the boat. And there were times when it seemed that the earth and the river and the sky and I were all one beat of the same pulse. And it was a time of watching and waiting for what I did not know and yet for what I always knew. There would come a moment which beyond a single pulse beat, there was a sense of presence which seemed always to speak to me. And my response to that presence always had the quality of personal communion. There was no voice. There was no image. There was no vision. There was God." So in this moment, with you and with God, as you know God, let us pray. We gather in gratitude this evening for family, friends, both with us and deceased. Gratitude for the Regis community as well, and for so much more. Thank you, God, for letting us in on your little secret, that you have a dream for each one of us. And your dream for us is this: that we realize we are good, we are blessed, we are capable, and each one of us reflects the sacredness that is you. And God, wait, we know there's more. Your dream for us is that we live together in justice, in kindness, in peace, and in mutual appreciation for each one of us in your image. Help us to live in such a way that what you see and value in us, the world will see and value in everyone, and then we structure our world accordingly. Amen. Every year at Kente, graduates nominate a student speaker that they believe best represents their class and their experience. We are proud to introduce this year's speaker. I am proud to introduce this year's speaker. She is graduating as a nursing major and has served as vice president of the Student Government Association Board twice. And she has been a gracious leader on our campus. And this year's speaker is Sergine Delma.
Congratulations to the Black and Latinx class of 2021. I am honored to be speaking at our Kente Stole ceremony to celebrate our achievements, our sacrifices, our resilience, our dedication to our future, dedication to our family's future and to the world. To remain dedicated, passionate, disciplined, and to thrive in institutions that weren't built for us, but by us, isn't easy. And we didn't do it alone. So a special shout out to our families, the prayer warriors, the caregivers, the ones that reminded you to put lotions on your ankles, the ones that told you I had a bad dream so you knew that day you couldn't go out. So shout out to them, the ones that helped you pay your substantial tuition bill. Round of applause to our parents, friends, cousins, who you aren't even sure are cousins, but to our village for their commitment to our success. For many of you, as first-generational college students, you had to get yourself to college, then through college. You navigated challenging classes, navigated Zoom University, navigated challenges outside the classroom, and you're now being asked to find your way in a world where a devastating global pandemic has disproportionately impacted Black and brown communities. And yet you still made it. And yet we still shine, Black excellence at its prime. Find your way in a world where a Black man goes for a jog and generational hate leads to his shooting, where there are forces that would rather shatter us instead of sharing the nation. And yet we still shine, Black excellence at its prime. Find your way in a world where immigrant children are still in cages, and where we all watched the killing of George Floyd and still didn't know if the verdict would be guilty, and yet we'll still shine, Black excellence at its prime. Our generation has woken up and chosen to be justice seekers. We have found power in being heirs of such terrifying hours, power to continue to author our stories. My grandpa taught my mom, who taught me, that education is the flower of civilization from which reciprocal understanding comes from. So my fellow peers, I hope that you use your newly acquired title after your last name, BSN, MSN, BA, BSW, MSW, to work with your communities. And in taking on this responsibility, I hope you are bold and unapologetic. I hope that you have a vision that isn't clouded by fear, and you look to the future to see the world as it ought to be, and let history look towards you. Historically, a kente was worn during ceremonial events by kings and queens. Tonight, it is worn during a ceremonial event by kings and queens. The Wawa... The Wawa Aba symbol in your Kente stole has roots in Ghana, meaning seeds of the Wawa tree. It symbolizes strength and perseverance, stressing the strength in adversity, strength to earn a bachelor or master's degree. As many of you wearing your stole from your home country, or that you will be wearing that, I'm wearing one from my home country, Haiti. And in Haiti, our motto is "L'union fait la force." Unity is strength. And this is a strength that led us to our independence in 1804, and it is the same strength and determination that I've seen in all of you. What has led you through the challenging year and the achievement of a higher education. Regis has given us many tools, but we had to learn how to use them. We learned how to work in community, and in looking at you guys today, I know we all know each other because we knew that we could trust each other. Regis is where 5 Black girls from Nigeria, Ghana, Uganda, and Haiti met and formed a phenomenal nursing squad. So shout out to OTA. Where you can get inspired by a Latina from El Salvador working with an organization that promotes immigration rights and social justice. Where Black student athletes become student leaders, where you can meet lifelong friends in spiritual retreats and service trips, where you meet staff that are truth tellers, advocates, mentors, and confidants, where a first-year seminar advisor, a Cape Verdean director of the Center for Student Engagement, and a Venezuelan assistant dean of student affairs can empower you to be the best version of yourself. It is where an immigrant black girl descended from a strong-willed slave with a thick Haitian accent can become vice president of the Student Government Association Executive Board twice. Where an immigrant black girl descended from strong-willed slave of Haiti and raised by its independent children can dream of becoming a healthcare hero only to find herself already one. And where black students can form a caucus to advocate for themselves and demand a special ceremony to celebrate our achievements. And these achievements are not without struggle, not without adversity, but while we can be periodically delayed, we can never be permanently defeated. So turn to your neighbor and tell them, you smell like excellence today. Smell like excellence today. And to quote Donovan Livingston, our stories are the ladders that make it easier for us to touch the stars. So climb and grab them. Grab their everlasting light and shine amongst the stars. We were not meant to be common, we were meant to be comets, darting across space and time, leaving our marks as we crash into everything. A crater is a reminder that something amazing happened right here and that shook up our world. A crater is what we leave at Regis. So I leave you with this. Remember that you are not only the protagonist of your story, but the author writing these adventures, an editor correcting and learning from the mistakes. It takes all three to write an epic story. So continue to break glass ceilings and generational curses. Sow a seed of excellence into the soil of your potential and water it every day into the tree of your destiny. You are who your ancestors have been waiting for. Black excellence forever. Thank you. And as our VP of the United States, Kamala Harris, once said, we did it, Joe. Every year at Kente, we also nominate a faculty and staff speaker to address the graduates. And we are proud, I'm so proud, to introduce this year's speaker, our Assistant Dean of Student Affairs, Anabela Morabito.
Oh my God. Thank God for waterproof mascara. Whew. Good evening, everyone. Buenas tardes a todos. As I stand here today, I can't help but look at the crowd and feel an immense sense of pride and joy. But most of all, I feel humbled. I feel humbled that you asked me to be here today, speaking to you in representation of the faculty and staff. I feel humbled that my job affords me the irreplaceable privilege of accompanying you all as you grow into the person that your ancestors dreamed of. I am humbled that over the last 4 years, so many of you opened yourselves up in times of need and confided in me as a resource when you felt most vulnerable. I'm humbled that I get to be a very small part of the wonderful life that you are building. But most of all, I get to witness the change that you will be in our world, a world that so cries out for a different way of being. I have seen so many of you grow over the last 4 years. I saw you enter college and navigate the uncertainty of it all. I spoke with so many of your parents, sometimes in Spanish, and they shared with great pride how much your education means to them and how much they worked and fought for you to be here today, sometimes when they could not do this themselves. I have seen you all go for leadership positions, sometimes receiving the news with great satisfaction, and other times feeling a profound sense of disappointment. But every single time, I see you try and try again. I see you try so that people can come to see who you are, because I've also seen you wow people, people that sometimes underestimated the great power that each one of you possesses. I have seen you grow into leaders our world demands, stand at the US-Mexico border and demand that immigrants and refugees are treated as our dear neighbors without distinction. I've seen you go on a pilgrimage during the civil rights trip and stand as witnesses to the atrocious racism of the Jim Crow South. I've seen you push the bounds of your research to include the centering of Black and Latinx health matters in a field that is predominantly white. I've seen the way that you enter clinical and internship placements, sometimes with low expectations from your supervisors, and still you leave your mark. I've seen how you become involved in your local community and support the most marginalized. And I've seen you demand, because you love it so much, that our institution do and be better. All of you make me so incredibly proud. And all of you are the reason that my job to this day remains my calling and my purpose. On Thursday and Friday, I stood and watched each one of you cross the stage, and I could not help but feel an immense sense of pride at the person that you have each become. But also as a staff member, I felt so privileged for the grand opportunity to be there. Seeing you cross the stage is my highest purpose for being in education. Creating institutions that form future Black and Latinx leaders is my calling, and it is the reason why I believe in the power of education. And all of you are a manifestation that despite systemic racism, it can still be done. Today, we celebrate the Kente Stole ceremony, and this year in particular, the Multicultural Student Association chose the symbol of the Wawa Aba, a symbol of perseverance. As I stand here today and look at the crowd, socially distanced, masked, feeling a profound absence from your family, and yet you're still glowing with happiness at this moment, to me, that is only perseverance embodied. You are each the biggest accomplishments of your families. You are the product of your hard work and perseverance, but most importantly, you are the product of their hard work and perseverance. You are standing on the hilltop and know that you carried your village with you. They will be forever where you are. And let's just acknowledge that systems of education were not made for us. You've learned to navigate relationships with professors who did not always look like you. You've learned to advocate for yourself and ask for help when many times our culture does not reward this behavior. Many of you have worked, like really worked, work study, side gigs, RA, OL, Pride Guide, Testing Center observers, summer jobs, internships, at times, all of the above. But you worked so hard to pay for your education and to be here. You stood up for yourself and you asked to be reconsidered when at times you received no for an answer. You navigated college as the first person in your family to do so, not always knowing what the next step would be, but always keeping the pace and moving forward. You remain rooted in your culture when you didn't always have a platform to express it. You have gone beyond your comfort zone and lived in an environment so different from your own home. For our Puertorriqueños, my Boricuas, you know this feeling very well, being so far from your beautiful island. Many of us know that feeling, that longing for home, and yet we stay rooted in who we are. You have each proved to us and the world around you your worth, your capability, and your sheer brilliance. And don't ever let anyone tell you otherwise, not others, but certainly not yourself. Don't ever let self-doubt cloud the vision that you have for your future, because I have seen what you can do, and I know that you can accomplish it. In closing, I want to thank each of you. I want to thank you for what you have given Regis, but I personally want to thank you for what you have given me. Seeing you all grow into leaders and seeing others recognize it throughout the award ceremonies this week, that has been the best part of the last 4 years. Thank you for offering us your heart, for trusting us to be here with you today, sometimes as proxies for your family who so desire to see you shine. And thank you for challenging us to continue to grow in ever-widening circles, always more inclusive, always better, always more prophetic, and always recognizing excellence and inclusion. Gracias. To begin our donning of the Kente stole, I will invite this year's Multicultural Student Association co-chairs, Lude Jean-Louis and Dimitri Stewart. Lude and Dimitri will come up and show us how the donning will work this year. Lude is going to don Dimitri in this example. Since we'll be called by their name, as I just called them, they will come up to the stage with the person who will don the stole. The donor will grab the stole and hand it to the student. Then they will step up to the mic and share a couple of remarks from the heart. You may choose to remain masked or unmasked when using the microphone, but always remain distant, and most importantly, speak directly into the mic so we can hear your words from the heart. After sharing your remark, you can then step off together. In this scenario, I'm going to ask Lude and Dimitri to stay. Some students tonight have chosen to don their own stole. If that is the case for you, you will step up, grab the stole, don yourself, and then you are free to share some remarks with us as well. Remember that this is being recorded, so it's a wonderful opportunity to share something with your family or share something with the crowd. Please keep your remarks brief, from the heart, and refrain from contact during the ceremony. The slides will include the student's name, a picture, a quote. Some slides will just include names because we did not obtain information from the students, but we still want to recognize them. And some students will read their name even though they're not here today, so they can then watch the recording. So now that we understand the process, right? Yes? Okay. I will hand it off to our leaders, Lude and Dimitri.
All right.
Chanel Zaria Garcia.
I'm sorry, I forgot my mask. It's a good thing I had to come back up, though, because I'm here for Chanel. I'm sharing this process with Dan, and so I'll be very brief. But one of the things I wanted to share with you, Chanel, as we see you graduate, is that I was telling Dan that when I think of you and I think of the growth you've had, not because you've become a different person, but because you've gone closer to who you are. I'm just very proud because you have really found your voice. When we first met you, I know you had a hard time expressing yourself. You had a hard time sharing the opinions that you so deeply valued and the values you so deeply held. And now that I look at you, you not only embody those values, but without saying much, you share them and you make a profound impact. So we're very proud of you. And I'm going to give it to Dan to share his remarks.
Thank you. And I wish we had 2 hours, but we don't. So I just want to say briefly a little thing that I remember that probably no one will care about, but we recruited you very heavily to come work for us, to continue. You were an undergrad. We wanted you to be our graduate intern. You sort of reluctantly said yes, but then I sat down and I said, Chanel, one of the most important things we do is we have pastoral presence in our office. You're like, I don't know about that. We make people feel comfortable and welcomed and valued. Yeah, I don't know. I said, you do that. Yes, you do. You're like, yeah, I don't know about this pastoral stuff. 2 years later, she's interviewing for an internship for the counseling psych program. She gets off the phone and goes, damn, that lady said I had pastoral presence. I had a pastoral sense about me. So it came full circle. And the last thing is we bonded over maxims. The maxims are these little spiritual sayings that the sisters have. And one time I shared one with Chanel. I was like, I don't know about any maxims. And when after 2 years, she said she was going to get a tattoo of Maxim 52 on her arm. So I wrote a maxim for you. There's 100 of them. So this is Maxim 101 for Chanel. Never forget that God has your back. I got you, says God. And with me, all things are possible. We love you.
Up next, we have Carla Acosta. Judcine Felix.
No, it doesn't matter.
Hi, everyone. I tried not to get emotional for this, but I had to write this down because there are not enough words, there's not enough time to talk about your greatness. Okay, so Judcine, Mama Jude. When I look at you, I see strength, passion, and perseverance. I still remember when we first met, you were helping me navigate the campus and the confusing College Hall to St. Joe's transition, as all of you know, is extremely confusing. And that was during my interview process. You continued to help me navigate my first months here at Regis. You even carried the entire office while I was on maternity leave. We've laughed together, cried together, shared our doubts, but most of all, we've dreamed together and created together. I couldn't have asked for a better colleague, a better motivator, and co-conspirator. You pour love and passion into everything you do and have an amazing skill to make folks feel seen and heard without judgment, regardless of differences. I can't wait to see the systems you rattle, the changes you make, and the lives you impact. I know in an ideal world, your family would be here, shouting, cheering, and sharing a beautiful speech about you. While I am no substitute for your parents, brothers, or sisters, know that I will always be in your corner. I will always be here to motivate you, cry with you, and tell you how truly amazing you are. Continue to keep pushing, shatter those cement ceilings, disrupt those systems, and always be unapologetically you. Congratulations, Judcine. We love you and are so proud of you.
Next up, we have Modi Lennon Jr.
going to keep this brief, folks, but I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank God. I want to thank my family, my friends. I feel like I'm at like the Apollo or something like that, but the Regis community, I love you all. Thank you.
Abigail Day.
Okay, I'm also going to keep this brief. But Abby has taught me how patience is strength. And Abby, I just want to say that you're resilient and you're a quiet little storm. She's very little, but she's a storm. And your laughter is so contagious, you can take up the whole room, literally, and drown it too, because you cry when you laugh. And you and I have bonded being international students and knowing what that entails, the immense sacrifice that our parents have made and the pride we bring them in our country. So today, you bring pride to your country, Ghana, by wearing its symbol of strength and perseverance that you embody so well. So congratulations, Abby. Wear it well.
Get your picture, girl. Love to see it. There you go. All right, next up we have Abigail Nelson.
Adjustment. Okay. Okay. I don't even know where to begin, but this is why I wrote it down. This woman right here, I've been best friends with for 11 years. Middle school, high school, now college. And I really couldn't feel any more blessed. She's my ride or die. She's my sister. Someone I'm deeply proud of, someone who exhibits resilience, courage, and a whole lot of heart. I love you, Abigail, and you're gonna be the best nurse ever.
Alessandra Miranda.
Alexa Cuellar.
Alexa, I remember when I met you. We were on the bus coming back from Founders Day, and you said, "Hi, you're that girl that spoke at convocation." said, yeah, that's me. I'm that girl that spoke at convocation. And you started opening up about your experience at Regis. And one of the things you shared in that moment was that you felt like it was hard to be yourself here. That people thought you spoke funny, they thought you dressed funny, they thought you acted funny. And I remember going home and thinking, I really hope she doesn't stop being that person, because that can happen. But you did the opposite. You further embraced that person. You dug a little deeper into your identity. You dug a little deeper into your choices, going to LA and the US-Mexico border and coming back and having to challenge your mom and say, I don't think I want to be a nurse. I know this is what you've been waiting for, but I think I want to be a social worker. And I remember how difficult that was. I remember having to talk to your mom about it. But as we went through the award ceremonies 4 years later, I don't know if you know this, but you were one of the most awarded students. And I think that says a lot about the power of drawing closer to yourself, even when people don't think that self is acceptable. You made a role model for the whole community, and you should be really proud of yourself. I know that your mom is. I know that your dad also is. And we love you very much. We're here rooting for you. And I think this is the moment where I look and I say, the student became the master, because you're doing great things.
Alexander Bowie.
Angel Uguakazi.
Angel, thank you so much for asking me to be here with you today. I know that your journey at Regis has been long. It has been a lot of things, sometimes good, sometimes not so great. But I think it's really telling that the quote that you chose for your slide says that challenges make life interesting, and overcoming them is what gives life purpose. I'm really proud of you for all the challenges that you've overcome, the challenges that you're still overcoming. And I know that you will make a great nurse, but I hope that when you leave here tonight, you can keep that reminder for yourself. Just keep repeating to yourself, I will make a great nurse. We're very proud of you. We know that you will. And congratulations.
Anthony Davila.
Brendan Donahue.
Chuck Obodo.
Claudia Diaz.
Comfort Chloe Akatukunda.
too much. Okay. Chloe, when I first saw that you followed me on Instagram, I was like, who's that girl? Like, who is she? And you were Chloe on your Instagram, but Comfort in class. And I was like, it's not making sense. Like, I don't know this girl. Chloe, you are Comfort in class, Chloe to your close friends, and Big Risha, Chloe Risha, and so many other aliases. And I was always wondering, like, does she stay up at night, like, up and thinking about, different names to call herself? Like, your personality is, as you say it, it is the vibe. You know how to make everyone around you feel included and special. And you're so easy to talk to and so genuine. You, Chloe, is the friend that you can call to vent. She's also the friend that you can call in times of need. The friend that you can go to church and pray with. And you have been that friend to me. And so I no longer ask, who is Chloe? I know that Chloe is one of my best friends. And she will be for many years. Chloe, you're my bridesmaid, girl. Right on up. I'm so glad that Regis has brought us together and the church has brought us together. And we're here forever. Thank you.
Deja Simone Weaver.
Dante Lucy Muzioli.
Wasn't in the script. But I wanted to, Lucy asked me to say a few words just to say, it's been a pleasure to know you for all 4 years. Lucy, Dante, LD, many, many names on this campus. You brought a life and a spirit to our community. Am I allowed to say that you were the mascot? Sometimes she showed up at the 5:45 Mass as the mascot. Yes, you had the glasses. You also dropped off your cello case on my office 3 days a week. You sang with glee. You're a musician, you're a scholar, you're a good friend, and you brought so much life, and you embodied the values, the Regis values, to this campus and lived them out uniquely. So thank you for all you've done for us. We are grateful.
Hi, Mom. I did it. Yay.
Faustine Arlette Aouda Manga.
So I remember arriving in the US 5 years ago, learning a new language, and everything was so different than home. The weather, the food, the housing accommodation. And in nearly 2 months, I got some few expressions and a full sentence, but they weren't enough for college. I tried to live up to my dreams, and here we are. Regis gave me my shot, and it was worth it. I made it through, and now it's already time to leave. For my parents and siblings, I know you are proud of me. You made so much sacrifice, and I cannot thank you enough. This is for you. It is our diploma.
Isadora Dorvilliers.
I might not be as brief as some of the others. I'm honored to speak on behalf of Izzy and her accomplishments at Regis College. I've been Izzy's professor for 3 public health classes and her academic advisor, and I was just amazed when she asked me to do this. So I went back and looked at what Izzy has done in her time here, and I looked back and I had her in public health policy and advocacy in the fall of 2018, and she demonstrated a passion for public health and helping others in the communities in which she lives and learns. And I went back and looked, and she wrote a passionate paper about the stigma associated with mental health for college-age students and the need to create opportunities for dialogue and education for students, parents, and faculty. I had her in 2 more classes, Public Health Leadership and Health and Society. In leadership, she observed leaders discussing community challenges and opportunities of recreational marijuana stores. In Health and Society, she conducted a thorough assessment of her hometown of Brockton, Massachusetts, and identified risks and barriers as well as community strengths. More recently, I was able to work with Izzy around finding remote internships during the pandemic. She volunteered with the Department of Public Health to conduct COVID outreach to Haitian communities in Randolph, Massachusetts. She's also been most proactive with asking for meetings with me around the next steps in her career. We discussed graduate school options and employment, and she just told me that she's to go into the Master's in Healthcare Administration.
Yeah.
I have really high hopes and expectations for Izzy, and know that she'll continue to make meaningful contributions to public health and underserved communities. She will be a name we will remember. Congratulations, Izzy, on your graduation. Best of luck with the future, and the door is always open.
Yes, sir. Jacqueline Kimani.
Jamesy Prague Nosa.
All right, I didn't write my speech down because I know it's from the heart. So when I met Jamesy, it's my freshman year, I was just a random kid, and I promise you, you wouldn't have expected us to be as close as we are now. I look at Jamesy as like my big little sister. You know, I'm always talking about how short she is and how goofy she is, but I know no matter what the situation is, I could always come to her, I could always talk to her, and no matter what, she'll always give me the most honest opinion. And I remember all the times I've seen her stressed out losing it over classes, over work, over something. And I'm like, bro, you got it in the bag. Just take your time. And I'm so proud to see her right now and see that through all of that stuff, she's always persevered and she's made it. And it feels so good, you know, to see a big little sister become a big, big sister now, you know? So I'm proud of you, Jamesy. Jessica Cordoso. Juvens Dogger.
I'd just like to thank my family for making the sacrifices necessary for me to be here today. It wasn't always easy growing up, and they always made the effort to make sacrifices to put me and my siblings in a situation for success, and I want to thank them for that. And I also want to thank Regis and the faculty and everyone here who I've met along my journey at Regis these past 4 years for giving me knowledge and just being there as support for me. And that's it. Thank you.
Kelly Mesa.
Laura Fitzgerald.
Lisa Jean-Baptiste.
Ooh, there's a lot of people here. I didn't know that we had to do a speech, but I actually did this for my mom and dad because they came from Haiti with literally nothing, and now they have a daughter that has a degree, and I think they're gonna be real proud of me. But next step is med school.
Yes, sir.
Lisa Nantongo.
So, Lisa is my big little sister, and I'm so proud of her. She is my motivator, and I love her. Congratulations.
Markina Akobru.
Hi, everyone. So, Kina and I have been friends since freshman year. I just want to say how proud I am of you for all of your accomplishments and your perseverance throughout the past 4 years and throughout the pandemic. And without getting emotional, I just want to say thank you for everything you've done for me, for my family, and for showing me what true friendship is. You're like a sister to me, and I'm very proud of you.
Next we have Mercedes Reynoso.
Miranda Hernandez. Mirgiana Chelsea Noel.
Chelsea. You guys ever meet someone and the first time you meet them, it seems like you've known them for a long, long time? When I met Chelsea, it felt the same way. It feels like I've known her for years. And even when she left me for Greece to go do some great, amazing things and, learn some awesome stuff, it felt like every time she came back, it was like no time had passed. And I can't even imagine, being a Regis student here without having her by my side as one of my friends. Because my freshman year, her and Jamesy were the few people who were always there. I was always hanging out with them. If I was bored, hey, what are you guys doing? Can I come sit in the room while you guys binge a show on Netflix? I'm bored. What are you doing? Anything. And, to see her come this far, even with the times that we, I helped her with pre-calc and we did all that fun stuff, to see her really make it through now, I'm so proud. It's like watching another, big sister become a big sister. And I'm so proud of her. Noah Tamayan Miller.
Mr. Noah. I met Noah before he even started his freshman year. His family came in and we all met to kind of chat about what the next 4 years would look like. And Noah, you were shy and quiet and wouldn't look at me and answer my questions. But to say that you've come 150 miles from that place is an understatement. Anyone who was at Senior Wine and Cheese last night knows that Noah dances to the beat of his own drummer. And it hasn't always been easy, Noah, but you have made a real mark on Regis College. And I, along with your parents, are very, very proud of you. Congratulations.
Rochelle Charles.
Um, so me and Rachel were freshman roommates. I remember we ended up getting a quad our freshman year, and we were so upset about it, but we made the best of that year. And that's how the last 4 years been. Everything we've been through so much together, from so many breakdowns, the late night study dates in the library, or just you ordering pizza every single Friday freshman year. You always made the best of everything. And you have worked so hard, not only in the classroom, but sometimes you're working 3 jobs just to get through school. And you're an inspiration to me. You're someone I look up to, even though we're the same age, but I really look up to you. And I'm so excited to see what the next 16 months in nursing school holds for you. I know you'll be a great nurse because you're such a great friend.
Setra Okundaye.
Oh, Saki. So the first time I really met Setra, when she just walked into pathophysiology, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, I love your wig, I love your wig," and she's like, "Yeah, I made it myself." I'm like, "Oh, she's smart, and she makes her own wigs." So I was very impressed. I was like a little fun girl at the moment. So then the next time we all got into nursing school, and I found her in the lab studying. If y'all know the labs in College Hall in the fast flow. So she was in there studying, and I was like, "Oh, do you always want to do this?" And she said, "Yes." So we were in the lab all the time since our junior year, sophomore year. So sometimes in life you find a special friend, someone who changes your life. Just by being a part of it, sometimes you make me laugh. Someone who makes you laugh until you can't stop. Someone who makes you believe that there is really good in the world. Someone who convinces you that there really is unlocked door just waiting for you to open it. And that's how you made me feel this whole nursing school. So we really are unlocking that door. BSN RN is coming. So this is a forever friendship. When you are down and the world seems dark and empty, your forever friend lifts you up in spirit and makes the dark and empty world suddenly seem bright and full. Your forever friend gets you through the hard times, the sad times, and the confused times. Yeah, pharmacology classes. If you lose your way, your forever friend guides you and cheers you on. Your forever friend holds your hand and tells you that everything is going to be okay. Yeah, I think you know the acute class, the med surgical class. I was crying. I'm like, yeah, I'll fail this class. I didn't know I was going to get through it, but I did. Thank you. So you're my forever friend, and you have a forever friend in me, and forever has no end. So I'm very proud of us. I'm very proud of you. I can't wait for you to be the best nurse, and I'm very proud.
Sergine Delma.
I feel like saying, just remember what she said in the beginning and then drop the mic. Because there's not a whole lot more to add, but I will just say this. I did have the pleasure of being in class with you, FYS, and I knew from day one that there was something very special about you, your extraordinary presence, your leadership, and not only potential, because you had it then and you still have it now. And I even remember, even if you said the name Sergine or Sergine, whoever was saying it, people either said, I know her, or I want to meet her. There's something about you. We're grateful that you decided to develop your gifts and all the special blessings that God gave you, and you put them into this community, and you served. You've done a million things for this community. And our immersion trip to Kenya 2 years ago will be one of my most favorite memories of our time together. So I'm grateful for all you've done for Regis. Don't cry yet. And we're very grateful for all that you'll do for the world beyond this campus. So thank you.
Shayla Nasaka.
Wilnice Levesque.
Okay, I'm gonna try and keep it brief, but I don't think brief does it justice. I met Nisi in 5th grade. We didn't even like each other, but we didn't. And in 6th grade, her brother was like, how come you guys don't like each other? And then we just became friends ever since. And then she turned into my college roommate. And let me tell y'all, God knew what he was doing. This is a friendship that I cherish and I hold close to my heart. A friendship I hope lasts to the death of me. Being friends with Wilnice made me realize blood doesn't make you family. The first word that comes to mind when I think of Nisi is grateful. I'm grateful that God put such an amazing person in my life. Someone I can call my best friend, not even my sister. It's like my mother birthed Nisi herself. For real. Nisi is one of the realest, one of the most powerful, hardworking, double major, bio/public health, beautiful woman I know. She inspires me to be a better person. If it wasn't for Nisi, I would not be where I am today. She helped me restore my faith in God, and I can never repay you for that. I'm grateful that I can have such a great person on my team, and it's been a blessing to watch you grow into such an amazing woman. I know you're gonna accomplish great things, and great is an understatement. So I just wanna say thank you. Thank you for always showing up for me when I need you, for being my shoulder to cry on. Thank you for being someone I can confide in with anything and everything. And thank you for just being yourself. God has amazing plans for you, and there's no place but up.
Yalen Payero.
Ciaret Garcia.
Everyone. Can you hear me? No. Okay, ahora. Okay, this was kind of last minute, but she tends to do this to me a lot, so it's fine. I'm prepared. Sia, we kind of always talk about this. We don't really know how we met each other. It just happened. It just, it's a blessing from God, honestly, that we got to cross each other's path. I can never thank God and Regis enough for bringing such a wonderful woman into my life. A friend, sister, a mother at times. When I needed you, you were always there. And I just know that you have great things in front of you. You'll be the greatest vet ever. You'll take care of amazing birds and dogs and whatever. And I know I'm not speaking only for myself, but for all the Puerto Ricans here at Regis, that you have left a big impact in all of our lives, and that we will never forget you. And Regis is very thankful for you. Thank you.
I'm really glad that you asked Lulu to come up because that was the perfect stage. When I think of you, Sia, I think of community. You told me a story in LA. I was really concerned when you told me the story. You shared that your first week here at Regis, you had a hard time meeting people. And you told your mom, you were talking to your mom, and she's like, oh, have you met anyone? And you're like, yeah, I met someone. She's this girl from Venezuela. And her mom's like, that's great. Where does she live? Oh, she doesn't live here. She works here. And her mom was like, okay, but do you have friends? So when you told me that story, I was incredibly concerned. Oh my God, what does her mom think of me? But then when I started thinking about it in LA, I was very proud because that's what you felt your first semester here. And then you built a community. You literally built a community of Puerto Ricanos. You started a WhatsApp group. You welcomed them. You cooked for them. She taught me how to make rice. I know that's embarrassing, but I didn't know. And you made a home for them, which is what you didn't have when you got here. And you made it for them. And you should be really proud of yourself for doing that. And I know that you're going to Louisiana, and you're going to have to do it again. But the good thing is that you got really good at it. And I know you can do it again. I'm really proud of you.
This concludes our Kente Stole ceremony. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for supporting our graduates during this moment. And most importantly, congratulations to the class of 2021.
We hope you enjoyed the ceremony. You are now free to exit the tent, take pictures, and enjoy the Afro beats.